Good evening and welcome to Nerds at Night, episode 4. As you can see by the starting screen here, we're booting up the old Sega Dreamcast to play Soul Calibur. Now, this game, when it came out, back whenever it came out, sometime in the late 90s or early 2000s, bear with me here, I'm not exactly the expert at remembering things. This was actually one of the first games I could sit and consistently play with Fireheart, as a younger kid, that he actually got, and it didn't have to sit there and re-explain to him over and over and over again. So this should be interesting, and also want to take a minute and just relive this fairly awesome opening scene, even for this era. It's, a couple of the games in this era, from this PS1 to PS2 era, really were pushing the limits of what otherwise limited hardware could do graphically. I mean, they're obviously not up to today's standards, but they were still pretty good. So before we go on, go ahead and introduce ourselves, starting with...
I'm Fire47.
And I'm Kidthunderdj. Obviously, it's just the two of us. Maybe there'll be more of us someday, but for now it's us. And this is our show. So, right now, as you can see, we're still watching the awesome opening screen. And I just wanted to get... What was your first memories of this game, Fireheart?
Honestly, the earliest things I can remember was actually playing, I think, more on my own with Soul Calibur 2. I'm sure I was experienced this before it, same thing. I more so just remember Soul Calibur 2, playing some probably my second favorite of the entire series. The first actually being Soul Calibur 3, which is always kind of disputed between which is most popular, but between things like its character customization being added in, the Chronicles of the Sword mode is always really entertaining, side extra modes that they added, as well as just the story itself with every character was really entertaining. I always
I can understand that, and you also have to bear in mind that when I say this was one of the first games I could play with you were 4. So, this came out in 1999. I thank you, Wikipedia, for helping this old guy kind of look at things. So, yeah, you were 4 years old, so button mashing is obviously at the heart of most any Namco fighting game. You really could get away. I mean, they have characters like, if you go over in a second, they have characters like Eddie Gordo, and this one really, Maxie fills that role, at least until Raphael came out, of just being the guy you could hit buttons with and at least survive.
Right.
And then you discovered Keelik in later games and wanted to kill him. Oh, well, I'm having a freak out up to 10 years later. Oh, wait, no, it's just the last of the dying generation of using blinking text to show you it's important. I'm so glad that's going away. Alright, so obviously it's a fighting game. It's a Namco fighting game, so the story never changes. In this case, it's find the mystic sword, and later games really just start adding other swords and other people looking for the swords. So rather than just fight in a straight one-on-one, just to kind of give everyone an overview of a lot of the characters in this game, or at least the starting characters, let's do this. Well, yeah, some come out. Some it's time release, some it's beating the game with. So we're really going to be playing a mix of... Oh yeah, you can only have one of each character.
Oh, so that's why. Okay. I wonder why I couldn't pick one. Jeez, at this point, let's just pick one.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. There are more characters available, and that's one of the hallmarks of the series is that there is always more characters.
For better or for worse.
At least they haven't dumped in a ton of unnecessary guest characters like Smash Brothers and Mortal Kombat. They have their experimentation with it, which honestly, going back to that point, my favorite guest character was Spawn.
Let's see.
Yeah, you can put her in. There you go. I like how
I think the A button wasn't sticking completely.
Yeah, we try to play on the original system where possible, not emulator, because A, you paid a lot of money for a capture device, and B, it's a lot easier than trying to make recycled Xbox controllers work for systems that don't work.
Let's go to Pangea.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing a big 8-on-8 with a lot of repeated characters team battle. So now, going down just the Soul Calibur series, you had talked about 3 being your favorite. My favorite of Soul Calibur 2 was the arcade version where you had Conquest mode, which was really you would join an army, which was you join a color, and you would fight, and it would pretty early, in this idea, but it still somewhat worked is, and down goes Astaroth.
This victory
Is that they would try to remember your play style broken down into points, and people would fight your character when you weren't there, and the wins you racked up for your army, eventually you would conquer everyone. If you did that, a medal for it, and your goal was to always try to get a medal for each army type, which was really aggravating because if I remember correctly, you were randomly assigned your army. You couldn't just go, I want to be blue army this time. It was like, oh, I'm red again, yay, because it was,
Right on the edge.
oh, yeah, this was the easiest one to get the ring outs in. Not that any of them were ever really hard.
Right.
My sword, give me strength.
Although I'll give the credit to Soul Calibur 2, it always had the best just character quotes. Like the just little battle dialogue they would give. I always remember that one the most. Just
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
God damn it!
Get out of here. Yes, normally we try to keep it fairly PG, except for whenever Fireheart and I fight. Then there's just,
There's no.
it goes out the window, especially when he gets to Keelik or any Keelik type character. Oh, here we go.
Speaking of, what's your favorite move? Which is funny because I actually use a lot of his moves besides it.
Yeah, I'll give you credit. Most people who play Keelik just do what you're doing to me right now, and that's it. That's their move. You were, especially in the later games with him and his subsequent character types, you were really good at combat. Now, what I liked about this series as a whole is the 3D, even in these early versions, the 3D fighting mechanic wasn't broken. Like, if you remember Mortal Kombat 4, you could really not get touched again. In this one, they really try to keep the players, for lack of a better term, like synced up. As you can see, unless you're going in the middle of an attack, your move changes to adjust my moves, and it just wasn't that well done in any other games at the time. I mean, it got better, and now it's, you got what you deserved.
was seriously wounded, but the soul still burns.
They did. It's thumbstick.
Oh, I was on your end then.
Yep. I don't really like that they refill your energy, even though it's only a little bit after each encounter, because that's, oh yeah, her little do-nothing move, which is better than one of her later versions where she grabs you and sticks her hoo-ha in your face.
Strengthens
Yeah, and then she just like situes your shield. Although I think there was like a continuation where she would actually just like pull a backflip, pulling you with them. And that one actually kind of made it a little bit more, effective, I guess.
My turn with Keelik. Now, I will be that guy who does just the front sticky stab thing several times. I'm good with like exactly 3 characters in this version. And he ain't one of them.
Yeah, Sophitia and by extension Cassandra in the later ones, which never been so, yeah, that one
Oh!
there. Like,
Don't you pay $5 for that in Vegas? I mean, I wouldn't know exactly.
it stays.
Oh!
Out
Damn
of
you!
here.
Stay in range of my attacks.
was seriously wounded, but the soul still
Sorry for the extra noise. I'm moving around a little bit.
wins.
And I'm too lazy to edit and fix sound, so what you hear is what you get.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too terrible.
Versus meets Battle 8. Fight!
Mitsurugi.
His quest to be faster than a bullet, which fails about every time.
There you go, that's what I meant.
Still, okay, so you get slammed in the face with Cooch. That is exactly what happened there.
Pretty much.
Move. The same. Okay. Next time, do it where she's in it.
That's even worse. was she even lose?
For Arsenal, her fighting type should just be called Cooch Slam.
Versus Voldo.
God, she's worse than Voldo, really.
Right, Voldo's just vaguely creepy and makes you question your sexuality. She makes you regret your sexuality.
I'm surprised they're doing this well with Safiti, actually. Oh, Jesus.
No, this is purely because I'm out of practice. I love that. Once the round's over, it doesn't matter, so I would purposely do that every time. Just, I'm going into the water.
Or in this case, the boiling lava.
Hey, I'm still alive, aren't I?
Oh, God, my next character's Taki, I think.
Versus.
Oh, wait, no, Shoma.
Oh, good lord. Now,
Oh,
she
shit.
actually gets to be really good in later games. But she is just so fast. Like, by Soul Calibur 3, her and Raphael are just brutally quick. And when you consider that they're faster than the guy who wields nunchucks, that's pretty impressive.
Getting kind of just stun locked. Oh, God, ran into a kick.
Right in the face.
Strengthens the soul.
I'm going to catch up. Oh,
Oof. And then you can just get leg slam. How nice is that? Voldo wins. I think.
Versus Matsu.
That'd be funny if he just smacked himself in the face.
I'm not going to be surprised if they will do a Soul Calibur 6, trying to continue this game, trying to updating characters with new versions, and they do some sort of jokester rip-off of them with a new protagonist, or not protagonist, but the new nunchuck user, and just some fool, will screw himself over or something.
This
Yeah, or at least in the open.
strengthens the soul.
That'd be hilarious. If he was trying to perform on stage and his nunchuck breaks and one of the sticks just smacks him right in the balls. It's been
Nunchuck.
fun. You're gonna think it's fun.
Versus Ivy.
Oh, Ivy.
Fight.
So much potential, so much moves. And as the great guys over at Screw Attack determined, one of the largest racks in gaming. Not counting on godly Japanese people.
Yeah, the
Orchid
Ivy,
fight.
yeah, Ivy and Orchid fight was great. I always like her one.
Yeah, it's kind of, this is the last game it's not broken.
Ivy.
The first game. Because every other game, man, she can just do way too much with it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get taken out on this one.
Versus Taki.
One of the problems with, or I guess I wouldn't say problems, is just that I'm not as experienced with this original one as I am with some of the later ones. So.
They haven't really changed much, so really.
I know
it's
it hasn't
just-
changed much, or shit. Oh fuck.
I love winning that way.
Strengthens the soul.
Yeah, and I really chose a terrible character to end on.
Ivy.
God awful with talking.
Sounds like a bunch of excuses to me.
Pretty much.
Although
Like, look at that. It took me, it took Keelik before I actually started doing damage on you. Started with Nightmare.
Right. I did lead with one of my best
The
feet.
legend will never die.
The worst 1-2 punch-in characters to go up against with me. Why don't I use the two characters I dominate everyone with? Now, Astaroth always gets called the easiest character to play as, and
I would
I don't
disagree.
ever agree with that.
I would disagree.
Yeah, a lot of people have trouble really. He's easy to play as from brute force, and yes, he's got one move that if you're dumb enough to hit someone with it, or if they're dumb enough to walk into it, I should say, that big axe swing,
Yeah,
then you'll do a lot of damage.
Up Y, yeah.
Right, but the best people who hit it like I did, where they catch you in that coming out of a move situation where you can't stop it, and we don't hold it for full damage.
Oh, that one. No, that's the way Y.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when you're sidestepping, and then you do that just towards them draw swing that knocks them 5 miles into the air.
Welcome back
That
to
is
the
pretty bad.
stage of history.
Let's have a little fun with just a straight up fight.
Customize the health.
Nah. Choose your level, Mitsurugi. This game had some really impressive landscapes. I mean, a lot of people were neglecting it. Kind of very static and not really well rendered.
Yeah, that was one of the other things I really didn't think was Actually, I think it was even in this one. Yeah, this stage of Thranduil's Castle. Just this raft you're on, taking down a whole moat, I guess, castle. And just going down this water room. I don't know if it does it in this one, but as the game's moved on, you are literally going through this entire course.
Yeah, that underground suite is really good. But really, I found the best moves part of Astaroth's moveset, even though they're so short-ranged by comparison to everyone else, is his kick attacks. They're great follow-up moves. And his grabs are pretty nice, too.
Especially
now, a lot of people follow up that grab with the big overhead swing. I don't. I try to go for the underground swing because it... Exactly.
I think that's what you're looking
side
at.
strikes are great for that. But it's faster than the overhead, and you usually do like I just did with you, and you catch them coming out of that roll. So it's just more or less like a
Battle 2, fight!
I love that he's got a move that makes you regret staying down.
It's like, oh, that's not going to work.
Well, you know,
If I caught you in the air with that roundhouse kick, that'd be amazing.
that would have, and you should have. That
Just
far
like-
off on it.
Nah, I was way off. You were completely on the ground.
Well, just the
Yeah.
it just looked like I wanted. I mean, come on, I'm trying to be nice to you, which is rare at best.
Oh, Jesus.
Sometimes, though, people do walk into that move, like I said.
Oh,
Oh, good God, Lord. That's just good.
stop it!
It's like, I'm gonna live. Wait, axe to the side. Axe to the side.
Stay away! Stay away! Oh, Jesus!
Oh.
Some of the most brutal moves with done with Astaroth. Almost caught you there, too.
And we'll finish with a nice, hit to the back of your head if that one would have continued. Yeah, let's bring that in. Astaroth wins.
But no, one of my favorites has always been, I don't know if it's consistent, but his back grab, where he'll just kick you in the back of the knee, stomp you down from the back of the ground, and then stomp on you. Just walking right over you.
Yeah, that or where he jams your foot into the ground with his axe and twists you around the axe and snaps you back.
Like,
Yeah, that's
ugh.
that's a little much there, buddy.
What other cast are we missing? 'Cause I feel like there's
Yoshimitsu,
Yeah, Yoshimitsu's not in.
Hoang, or whatever his
Hoang.
name is.
Yeah, he wasn't technically Harong yet. He gets that in.
Yeah, but
It was his
Jung-sung.
prequel.
Astaroth,
Oh yeah, that was Tekken shit.
Battle 1,
Harong is the Taekwondo guy.
Well, no, it's Hoang, not Hoang.
Yeah,
In this
Harong.
one. But they're not the same character, and they're not related. No, the only Tekken character in this one to show up is Yoshimitsu.
Well, they've always been.
Well,
They're very much they're the same company. So.
well, yes, but they even say
To remind people.
Yoshimitsu's not really a character. It's more or less a title for a member of that group. That was a little cheap on my part.
So do they? Yeah, I kept trying to do it. I guess do they not do the
burns.
like the side roll move where then you hit B and you do that tornado axe spin that'll catch the enemy?
They do, but it's not just B. I did it to you in the last fight.
There it is.
Yeah, it's guard break move.
Not even his guard break. Just, yeah, it's
Or
hard.
in later games, the move like that becomes his guard break.
It's just hard to pull off.
Ow, ow! That's my head. I need that. Die, dickweed.
Nope.
Yep. Ah, you son of a bitch.
I know. I was just like, please, please, please. Yes.
And that, folks, is one of the things that makes this game a friendship killer is ring out victories.
Right. One of the glorious things is when they actually add in stage variations. They have just characters and things that just help you avoid that. It's just like. Oh!
You lost to a foot, sucker.
And I nearly moved that camera. gonna say, I nearly caught you with that tornado spin too.
Yeah, you were starting it up. You could see the fire, fire burning.
Right, because if I caught you with that, that would have caught you into a move animation and just swung you around and launched you away from me.
Actually, I think his name is like Maxi Priest.
I don't know his last name. I don't think they've stated
No,
it.
they have. It's stated in
Some of the maybe the record or something.
yeah, it's Maxi Priest, and Ivy's of course Savante's daughter, who's
Ivy.
No, it's not you.
One.
Yeah, he should be the final villain, I believe.
no, the final villain in all the games for a while, at least after this is in.
Or then maybe a final semi-boss. Hopefully we can, or maybe we'll push through the arcade. Ooh, clutch with the grip. There goes your arm.
I need that arm. It's the jerk-off arm.
More importantly, that's the move you kind of fight with your damn nunchucks.
Oh, I hate
Oh, damn it!
I should have died, because if you get caught in the tail end of that combo, you're hosed. If you're not hitting skin.
If I was, a character that I know how to play,
You
he
were a
would have been
half
dead.
second faster. I would have been dead, yes, because that should have killed me.
There we go. It's always tricky keeping, remembering like how her sword switches between its sword and its whip. And
I feel like if you overthink Ivy too much, that's when you lose. She isn't really a button masher because, yes, you can get yourself in a situation where you do one of her meant-to-be ranged attacks, up close. But she's not... She's easy to overthink, and if you overthink her and you try to mix it up too much with her, you really just need to learn to more be on the fly with her. Wait, why am I looking through your ass?
I was gonna say I can't get up, and then I'm really standing right before you.
Shall I stay? You want to take a run at the arcade? Just like how, we gotta figure this out.
I was gonna say I think we have to finish this at least, because you know what we have to do first.
What? When I hear you say it, please.
You gotta fight me as Keely. Or against me.
It's cheap, but I could go with the only real true Keelik killer, Voldo, where I just slip into being right next to you. I know that's better in later games, but that was the one kryptonite against your use of him, was like, haha, I did this donut roll, I'm right next to you, you're dead. Son of a bitch!
One. Fight.
We'll see.
Oh no, in this one I fully expected this.
Oh. Okay, if I can actually get up, maybe
Yeah, I'm not spamming, so don't you dare start. Oh! Ow! Ow! Hold still so I can kill you.
Oh, if I had swung off the ring, that would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect for you to shut your damn mouth.
Two. Fight.
Oh, does he not do his kick move in this one? I think that was added in later, to where he can actually.
Yeah, I was going to say where he finishes that get up with a kick.
Yeah, he'll sweep down low.
Yeah, I think that's a later addition. Oh, I swear to God, with as hard as I'm fighting, if you knock me out of the ring, I'll knock you out of your chair. Yes!
I never, I never can predict those.
Yeah, seriously, and for a person who in every other fighting game and especially wrestling games loves foot sweeps, you fall victim to it over and over again.
I really thought it too much silence.
Dead
Getting
air.
too
Well,
much focused.
it's not dead air because, the game. We muted the
Oh, dick move, I had to do it.
Yeah. Story of your life. Anyway, we muted the external sound on our TV so there'd be less crosstalk, and yeah, it's a little weird to be trying to play and have a moment of silence talking and
consistently keep keep the discussion going.
Alright, so we'll just kind of roll through the arcade here, see who we unlock first. Who should be fun here? Let's see what happens when evil triumphs. That's always my default position.
Is Siegfried an unlockable skin in this one?
No, actually he's a full unlockable character.
I thought that was Soul Blade.
No. They, for pretty much every game after this, they have a variation of Nightmare Siegfried. And in, which one was it, 5, where he's actually back to being separated from him altogether?
Oh no, that was very early on. 2, he was a skin where he wasn't in any armor, and you could actually see Siegfried's like, face and hair and things. In 3, he fully splits and becomes his own character, and that's when he takes over the more or less Nightmare stance, where he has both hands on the greatsword, and Nightmare becomes his own entity where he holds the sword one hand. And it's just the spirit of the armor brought to automation, I guess, would be the term, without a host. And they've continued that for a while, where now Siegfried's trying to seek redemption and defeat Nightmare and Soul Edge.
Versus Maxi.
Yeah.
So let's get into this fight now. And of course, one of the kind of hallmark things of any of the Namco fighting games is your goal in arcade is really to see how fast you can go. Like your ranking and your score isn't point-based like the old Mortal Kombat's, it's time-based.
You win!
Kind of like that, like, again, this game, again, for just a Dreamcast game that I think was, yeah, like you were saying, 2000.
No, and this was one of the, if not release titles, was pretty close.
I mean, just by release date, like, it's still, like, graphically, it's all pretty well. I mean, this is
Yeah, I mean,
surprising. The Dreamcast was in such an odd state because it competed with the PS1, right?
actually competing more with the, it really,
It was kind of like half generation.
right,
in a
it was
sense, like-
between the two, because it was born when PS1 was still there, because I remember, I think Final Fantasy 9, either 8 or 9 had came out at the same time the Dreamcast came out, because they were making a play on the Dreamcast slogan for its release. But it was really one of the systems, along with the GameCube, that proved gaming systems really needed to do. You know, what was getting the Sony PlayStation,
Ooh, nice one.
a lot of the original PlayStation, a lot of traction with people, was it was one of the best, and still to this day is regarded as one of the best CD players on the market. That's the original PlayStation. And what made the PS2 so popular was it was the cheapest DVD player.
I always remember that. That was one of its biggest things, was just getting it for DVD player use even.
Right, and you didn't need a special remote for it. You didn't need anything. I mean, just right out of the box, get it, get some DVDs, and you're done.
Yeah.
And where Nintendo and Sega, and even in, you know, a little bit in the beginning, because if I remember right, in the very first versions, you had to have a remote to make DVDs work on Xbox. That's where a lot of them stumbled. You know, the GameCube could do nothing but games.
Right, they had the mini disc thing, which did not track well, which... I mean, I like the GameCube for what it was. It was always a fun system to me. Yeah, really comfortable controller, to me at least. It always worked well, but yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with just the way they designed this system to try to be in. Just couldn't.
Right. So, now that when this should air, we'll be a little bit removed from it. You're a Walking Dead fan, and I'm going somewhere with this, so you're a Walking Dead fan. How did you feel about the cliffhanger ending?
You win!
I saw it coming. I mean, it was inevitable that they would do some sort of cliffhanger thing, because it's what they do. Like, even if they did show what happened, or show who was, the one that was lost, there was still the cliffhanger of how do they get out? How are they going to, are they just going to drop them back off after all this? What, things like that. And we still don't know what happened with Wolverine and Carol, besides the fact that they were technically two people that you said were the kingdom, I believe.
Yeah, they're definitely building them up to be the kingdom, and I do appreciate that they are holding true to the notion that they're getting into the larger world storyline, which is where, we're getting into the more potatoes of it. And, the reason why I bring that up is one of the criticisms this game's had is that, it's really the same thing over and over again. And so is Walking Dead, and they really just never, there's not one ending that really kind of keeps the game going. And really, you can say all fighting games are guilty of this, but when you had Mortal Kombat Reboot and really try to tell a consistent story that went into the second game, it really makes me wonder, could they do that with this game, or is it really just going to be the same thing over and over?
Well, I think they even tried to continue on with it in 5, and they just kind of fell on their face when they did it, because they went, I think, like 17 years into the future. They tried to introduce new characters to take over class, or basically the new sets, introduce new characters and kind of freshen things up. And they just didn't do anything with them. There was little to no legitimate story. There was no actual story mode for any of the characters. You just had the one main one that we played, where he played as the young Metropolis guy was his name.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for a main character that you're going to be playing a story with, for one, he was just not that interesting or likable of a character. And they just did the story poorly itself, because they had these little stills of pictures as dialogue went by. Poorly written dialogue, I should say.
Yeah.
It was kind of cringeworthy.
I mean, even when you're not playing as him, you sometimes lose the feel. But yeah, I get what you were saying, and I do think this is a game that is ready for a full-on reboot. They had that copy of the Tekken thing on PlayStation Network, where you fight other people and.
Actually, and that's another thing where they failed at, because it wasn't Tekken Revolution. You fought. It was kind of like that tower from Tekken 4, or Soul Calibur 4, where you fought through this giant tower of different levels of just waves of enemies, basically. And it wasn't even like actually going up levels. You just each level was represented by a fight or a series of fights.
Right.
And then this one was just a dump of computer fight missions, where you just fight computers that get progressively harder as time goes on, and you have just a crappy way of customization. You have no character select. You have to unlock characters in the most asinine way possible, and you can't fight any of these. And while I can understand some of the criticism with games like Tekken Revolution, with it being a free-to-play game that is surely going to be full of spammers early on, it's kind of the thing you're going to expect because it's free-to-play, but it is basically free Tekken multiplayer. So things like the token system, where you're going to fight a couple rounds and have to wait for it to rebuild, makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really didn't in a computer-only fight game to only have so long. Oh, wait, here. Oh, it's a boss fight when your hair is blowing the wrong way.
Oh, and actually things that happen after the fight.
Wait, oh god, it's fire come to life!
The spirit of Soul Calibur, Inferno.
Standing in his best money shot stance.
Versus Inferno. Battle 1.
I did really like, actually, Inferno. I don't know if he does it here, but in the original, or in 2, the way he would. It was more of a staged battle than just a staged battle, than just rounds, because when you would beat him in a certain amount, he would do this animation where he would kind of gather his strength back and swap weapons. And it would be a random weapon every time, but I think he would start with the same one as you. But it just kind of kept things kind of fresh and randomized, where it was you never knew the fight that was coming. And then he had also moves like that.
Yeah, he's really good at taking half your health in one move. Oh, yeah, he's kind of an asshole. which you expect out of a boss, and he's certainly beatable. So that's one credit I'll give over some of the other games out there. And even with the newer Mortal Kombats, man, they really make it where, and Mortal Kombat X was better than 9, but they made it where you really in 9 had to spam one move over and over again to beat Shao Kahn, because he was just, even on like the easiest difficulties, he was just too.
Yeah, sure. The only thing you could really do is hope to catch him in a taunt or spam. And I mean, Shao Kahn has always been notorious for being just a spamming douche, but that's basic. When it's a computer, that's basically just your only way to counter it is fight the same, give him a taste of your own medicine, basically. Like do the ride and fly move where you just fly into him repeatedly until he dies.
Right. And here we get the old school way you saw an ending, which was 3
Which they tried to do the full story for again in Soul Calibur 5, which just didn't work. But yeah, so it looks like I think Nightmare got, or Siegfried freed himself from Nightmare. But no, speaking of asshole bosses, I always hated Tekken 5's Jinpachi boss, because he would just spam this fireball move that would knock off over half your health, and it was spammed. So I mean, I think it was at a time that I wasn't that good at like sidestepping for attacks, so I don't know if it would work then, but you really needed to get through things like that. I really like the way that you select your name in the credits as you're basically attacking the warriors.
Yeah, and
that was really fun. Wang Sung Hyung. Whereas they named him later Yun Sung.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yum.
Alright, so this was our playthrough through Soul Calibur. What are your thoughts now coming back to it after this many years and us playing obviously far more modern and a lot more fluid fighting games? Although this game certainly is far from clunky.
Yeah, like you were saying, not that clunky. It's pretty enjoyable. There's a lot of things like I'm more used to, like the moves that I'm more used to in the more recent games that weren't added in yet, or other characters that are missing that I might be good with. Like you were saying, like Raphael, I was pretty decent with him. I could get some of his pretty good stab combos going with his rapier. Overall, it's pretty fun to come back to it and just kind of see the roots. Trying to keep going here, but like I said, what were you going to say? Sorry, keep going. I'm sorry.
By the way, guys, it's getting pretty late at night, so
Tired.
yeah, the little one's tired because he likes to stay up all night, and
Game.
his day job, for lack of a better term, has him getting up early, so he's ready for bed over there. But no, it's cool to come back to. I do appreciate again that this series, started in an era where it was far more fluid, so it's a lot more fun to come back to. You try to boot up the original Mortal Kombat, which we might do sometime for the show, and try
I'm going
to
to be
fight
completely
it now.
destroyed.
Right. Try to fight it now, which I did recently for an event. We record out of St. Louis, so the St. Louis Science Center, they had what they call a First Friday event where they were, it was themed to fun and games. So I got contacted to set up a table with some of my retro stuff in my private collection. So I did, and one of the things I set up was my Sega Genesis system and was letting kids play Mortal Kombat. And man, it's so weird to go back and look at these older games and some of the things they were doing and just how disjointed and sloppy they really were for, at the time, feeling like they were so great. I mean, Mortal Kombat, especially the arcade version, felt like such a fast and fluid fighting game, and it really wasn't. Neither was some of the other predecessors in that era, like the Street Fighter 2 was a lot better, but still really clunky by comparison. And it's easy to take the cop out to say that, it's technology, but it's also just that, we have a more of an idea of what makes these games good. You know, the 16-bit era was really where fighting games came to be. You know, the 8-bit era, really, they had a couple. Obviously, the original Street Fighter, but they were mostly arcade. And, you know, they were good there, but for home console market, really couldn't do fighting games until the 16-bit generation. So it was really cool to come back and see how well this game held up, not just graphically, but also gameplay fluidity, movement, collision detection was still really good. You know, the ability to dodge, sidestep attacks was really crisp by comparison to, again, I made her mention earlier, Mortal Kombat. You know, when I slipped out of your axe attacks with Astaroth, there'd have been no way you could roll out of the way of a move that easy in Mortal Kombat 4.
Right.
And that was one of the first, you know, 3D fighters of that ilk. So I think that's a pretty good place to stop. You know, we're watching some of the demonstration video now.
Yeah, I always love these. And again, this is just showing, again, the fluidity of some of the combat. This is pretty more or less a fair amount of the moves that he actually can do.
I sort of say this is all in-game stuff. This isn't special spriting. This is his in-game model, so it's not a fancy animation they put together to make you think it's something it's not. This is what you see is what you get in game for stage movement speed. He moves that fast, the friggin' stupid little bastard. So yeah, it's definitely what it is for sure.
I always like seeing the effect of when he actually starts like spinning it pretty quick, when the actual stick will start to like bend back a little bit in the snap for it, you know?
The optical illusion effect, especially since it's got that blue trail, gives it the appearance of arcing. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting time to come back to. Definitely something I want to see them restart with this. I want to see them get the Mortal Kombat 9 treatment, where they start over, you know, they get rid of some of the crap characters like Turkelos and Zasalamel and Harley.
I wouldn't say Zasalamel.
He could be, but he's just so generic. He's like, I'm just going to be the mysterious dark guy. Really.
And there was actually more to him than that, because he was more or less cursed to be immortal, and even in one of his endings, he actually shows him in like a modern day suit and car and things, and just trying to he's doing just years worth of just research to try and break his curse so he can, you know, finally rest in peace. That's why he's actually after the swords, is so he can more or less attain death. And if you didn't realize, this was actually said back in this era, I believe.
Well,
for the game story, this was set, I believe, the 16th century.
Yes, it's not new. I knew that going in. Now, what I thought was funny is you talk about that, and it makes it sound like he's a Meeseeks. Maybe he just never figured out his task.
Maybe.
I just want to die. We all want to die. We're Meeseeks.
We're not bored and looking at this world for life and meaning.
But all right, we're getting that far off topic that you know we're getting into
other shows. We need to edit out.
Although one final thing, as you play through the game, you unlock the ability to edit which characters are doing which stance, since all of this is rendered within game character models.
Okay.
So you can change up the entrance. So I'd like, you know, this is how stupid you are when it's 1998 and you're, you know, just under a teenager in age. Is it would be funny to change some of these characters that you could change, because it's not every scene. You know, you mix up characters like, I think I had Astaroth doing the Voldo spot, what they call the Girl in the Wind pose, which was when you came off the edge of that field and it was Sophia. We changed her over to Ivy because you know. So yeah, just
I was gonna imagine like adding like the male characters to a feminine role, or you know, or adding, you know, or swapping the characters out like this, like you were just saying. I didn't realize I did that.
Yeah,
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a feature you could eventually unlock. It's pretty cool for what it was. So, you know, very few games let you change up what in-character models you're doing. So that's another little cool customization. You know,
that's one thing I'll actually give a lot of credit to Namco for. They had a lot of just like fun little modes. I mean, like doing the intro customization in here. There was Tekken 3 had this like volleyball Tekken ball mode where you would use your attack moves to hit a volleyball towards an opponent, and hitting it strong enough would send power into it, and if it hit the opponent and hurt them, or if it landed outside of the bounds, it would hurt them as well. Just these crazy, fun little modes that they would add in all of it. You know, they're just entertaining.
Yeah, fighting games really weren't doing much beyond here's your opponent, fight, beat them, you know, progressive ladder until you're done. So, you know, Namco did try to challenge a few things to keep the replay value high, because that's what was killing fighting games when there was so many on the market is, well, what do I do? And it's
Once
nothing.
you get your characters, yeah.
Right. Once you've unlocked everything, that's it. You
Then
put
they-
it on the shelf.
But by like 3, they added in things. Oop, careful. They added in the customizations, so you can make your own characters. That was always entertaining. You can make your own fights out of that.
All right, we've rambled enough, though, guys. So,
Right, yeah.
from Nerds at Night, I am Kidthunderdj.
And I'm Fire 47.
All right, and we will see you next week. I don't know what we're doing next week. I know for the first couple of episodes, total we were doing once, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. We might jump over to one of the few Nintendo systems I liked, which was the N64, and pick something from there. Maybe run
Yeah,
through a few
Xbox
matches on the
24.
classic wrestlers. So I will let you guys